Hi everybody, this is Father Warner D'Souza. Today we celebrate the feast of St. Andrew, and our gospel text is taken from Matthew chapter 4 verses 18 to 22. St. Andrew was a native of Bethsaida in Galilee, a fisherman by trade and a former disciple of John the Baptist. Andrew was at John's side when Jesus, whom John had recently baptized, walked by. "Look, here is the Lamb of God," John exclaimed as we read in John chapter 1, verse 36. Andrew, together with his more famous brother Peter, whom he introduced to Jesus, is the first to be called by Jesus to follow him. It is for this reason that he is called Proto-Toklet, or the first called apostle. Interestingly, while he is overshadowed by his brother Peter, he continues to be the one who introduces souls to Christ. After Pentecost, Andrew took up the apostolate on a much wider scale and is said to have been martyred at Patras in South Greece on a cross which was in the form of the letter or the alphabet X. This type of cross has long been known as St. Andrew's cross. The name Andrew is related to the Greek word for man, aner, or in the genitive, andros. It originally meant something like being manly. It is interesting that Andrew's name is of Greek origin, not Aramaic or Hebrew. This is indicative of a certain cultural openness in his family. The fact that their father, Jonah or Jonas, gave his elder son Simon an Aramaic name and his younger son Andrew a Greek name reflects the mixed Jewish-Gentile environment of Galilee in which they lived. In today's Gospel, we hear St. Matthew's version of the calling of the first four disciples. Andrew and Peter were casting their nets into the sea, while James and John were mending their nets. Both the sets of brothers immediately left their nets, boats, and father and followed Jesus. The word in Greek for follow me is akolotheo, which translates as accompany or assist. It is from this word that we get the English word acolyte. It is they who are called to assist in teaching the word with Jesus. They become the ministers of the word in Matthew chapter 5 to 7, and then again they become the ministers of deed with Jesus in chapters 8 to 9. Peter, Andrew, James, and John set a wonderful example of readiness. There is no shortly, maybe, tomorrow, I'm busy in just now, Jesus. The disciples were apparently inspired by the mission and made radical commitments to the movement. The Roman Empire relied on threat, coercion, and enticement to recruit people into its military. The new kingdom of Jesus, on the other hand, inspires them to participate in it freely. Perhaps what we need to ask ourselves is, what nets do I need to leave in order to follow Jesus wholeheartedly? What obstacles, what material attachments, what comfort zones have wound themselves so tightly around me that I cannot get up and follow him? It would do well for us to remember that the calling of Jesus is rooted in God, not in us. Jesus chose them and he chooses us. It may well happen that we can be self-absorbed, that we think that everything begins and ends with us. You see, this calling is very significant, so much so that towards the end of their 3 years together, as he prepares the disciples to go forth after his death and resurrection, he reminds them again, as we read in John chapter 15 verse 16, You did not choose me. I chose you and I appointed you to go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. The calling of Jesus, rooted in God, originates in God, emanates from God. It is His initiative and His choice. It is also very comforting for us to know that Jesus calls simple men like these. They were not super duper saints, and that gives us hope that He may even be able to use a person like you and me. The important thing is for us to give ourselves to Him. I want to wish you a very happy feast of St. Andrew, especially to the parishioners of St. Andrew's Church, Bandra, from which I came. This was the community that nurtured me for many years and helped me to form my vocation. In a very special way today, I want to remember the late Monsignor Nereus Rodrigues, who passed away a few days ago. I remember him fondly because he was the one who used to counsel me when I told him that I wanted to join the seminary. And it was he who gave me a letter of recommendation. Monsignor Nereus, may you rest in peace.